Hey everybody, it's your boy Durante, and I'm back at it again with another episode of Keep Talking. And today I have a disgraced Falcons fan here. One of these guys from my fantasy football group. His name is Kyle. Tell people who you are, Kyle.
Kyle Tulip, I'm 26. I coach football at Grafton High School. Been coaching for about 7 years at York and at Bethel, a special teams coordinator, and work with the kickers a lot. And unfortunately, I am a Falcons fan. Haven't won a Super Bowl yet, but hopefully next year is the year.
Falcons haven't been good since Ronald Reagan was the president.
I don't know. Not Ryan. And when they went to the Super Bowl, unfortunately, they couldn't hold that 28-0 lead.
That 28-3 lead, man, they've never let that down.
I hear about it to this day still. Even if I say, your team just lost, they were up 10 points. Again, the group chat, 28-3. This is the new Falcons. So
but I mean,
I hear it.
That's how the Falcons. That's just the history of the Falcons, man. It's like they always get close. They went to the Super Bowl. Didn't they, 98 or something?
Yeah, I was only 2 at that time, so those were the good times when I can't remember.
Yeah, man, the Falcons haven't had much history at all. But, man, tell the people about what got you into football, really.
So my buddy, when we were on the Outer Banks, he's played football all his life. His brother, he's my best friend. He's played football, and we were on the Outer Banks. He goes, you should play football because we're not going to be able to hang out during the summer because when you're in high school, it's basically you're doing it through August. Well, basically July. In August, you practice pretty much 4 to 8, 3 to 8. So, it's a long day thing. And I'm like, what am I going to do between 3 to 6 hours? You might as well. It's like, you might as well just come kick for us. And I was like, I've never done it, but sure.
So,
went out there.
Not to cut you off, but so kicking, how is that? Because I have tried my ass off trying to kick. I can punt, but kicking, that's a whole other fucking ballgame.
So, what I get into it is I was, by myself, usually there's a senior over there.
Mm-hmm.
But my buddy, he's been my buddy ever since I was young.
Mm-hmm.
We were on the soccer team together, and he was brand new. So we go out there, I have no idea what we're doing. Like I said, punting is the easiest thing if you play soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So we go out there, and it was like, well, he first asked me if I wanted to go out there because he was my brother's best friend. So we went out there and just started kicking the football.
Mm-hmm.
Got the techniques because there was no coaching at all with this. So we go out there trying to make extra points. Those are the easy kicks. But like when you get into a game, it's very difficult because you practice maybe 5-6 times in high school. Because a lot of coaches don't care about it.
Mm-hmm.
They care, but they don't ever get no practice, especially live practice. So we go in there. They bring the first group out there. They said, "All right, rush." Kid you not, my first kick ever made in practice, I nailed a kid in the back of the head, and it goes in. In practice, I had missed like 6 before all that. But I'd be making them very first time for like the 35, 40-yard kicks. But going into it, when live, I nailed a kid in the back of the head. We go into the first game, and 4 for 4 extra points.
Wow.
And the guy goes, "Man, what the hell did you do? You could barely make a kick, but now you're making all these." I'm like, I don't know. I black out when you kick. I can't remember nothing. So, but like going back to it, practice, there's no coaching. It's very odd you get a kicking coach out there.
In high school.
Yeah,
especially.
So we went out there, we looked up YouTube videos. We had no clue what we were doing. And we were never supervised. I ain't gonna say it's a bad thing, but, we at York, there's a practice field in the back, and then there's Bailey Field.
Mm-hmm.
No one goes to Bailey Field, so they just tell us to go out there because that's our game field. We can get used to turf. And I can tell you some stories. Man, we had thrown a kid, but by the time we just went out there and kicked and practice. But we got it through maybe like 2 practices and we were good. But we had this JV kicker come out, and he had no idea what he was doing. But we had prank jokes on him. We threw this kid in the trash can and threw him down all the way from the bleachers.
Jesus.
and this kid,
school shooter.
and well, the funny part is the kid went into the trash can on his own.
Oh man,
that's the craziest.
He
part.
was just jumping in already.
He was already ready.
He already knew it was coming.
But and then the first time we did it, he's like, "I want to do it again. I want to do it again." I'm like, "Oh, we don't know. We'll probably get in trouble, but go right ahead." So this kid ended up doing it on his own.
Oh shit.
And but at the end of the day, kickers are either loved or hated.
Yeah.
You either gonna make it and be loved, or you miss an extra point and you're hated on. So by the time this kid, he was better than me. I didn't play at all my junior year. I didn't even play a play. So I go into my senior year, and the coaches, there was a kid that was somewhat better than me, but by the time you're a kicker, you think you should start your senior year because that's your year. Well, they didn't see it that way, which I understood. You got to choose the best person for the job. So I ended up telling him I didn't want to play. And he calls me the next day, says, "I get what you're saying, but this kid's a little bit better than you. He's only an 11th grader, but, you're enjoyable to have on the football team. Can you please, just give it a try?" Well, I told him, I said, "Look, it's not that he's better than me. I'm not disappointed. As a matter of fact, you didn't give me a chance to even prove myself, which is the saddest part."
Yeah.
But, he said, "Just come on out. If you don't like it, then we understand. But, the team knows you very well. The kids, you got your friends. They don't want to, you did all this work and now you're just throwing it away." So I said, I'll give it a shot. Went out there and I asked him, the next day, I was like, "Can I try being a punter?" He goes, "Yeah, go ahead." So I ended up playing punter. And if I'm going too much into detail, just
no, you're fine.
But I go into punter, and the guy that they had was the guy who was our running back. And he could punt the crap out of football. And he can beam the shit out of football. He could throw that thing 60 yards.
Oh, wow.
In the air, no doubt. And he was a, 15, I think he was a 200-yard rusher. He could punt it.
Damn.
But going into that, he punts the first time. And then I walk up to him and say, "Hey, do you need a break? I'm ready." So I get in there, very first snap. The long snapper doesn't even snap at 6 yards.
Oh, shit.
So here's a video I have. It's just, you basically, it rolls to me, goes underneath my legs, picks up and kicks it 13 yards.
Oh, man.
But I was like...
But you saved it, though.
But I saved it. But we ended up winning that game because of that just one kick, because that was in the fourth quarter.
Damn.
But, you look at that play and said, "Damn, it was only," if you're looking on the sheets, it said, "Damn, you only had a 13-yard punt. What is he doing?" But if you weren't there, then you understand how important that play was.
Mm-hmm.
But, it kind of went that way for like 6, I think it kind of went that way, like asked him if he was ready for like 2 or 3 games. So they finally said, "You know what, you're the starting punter. You beat him out. He needs to run the ball. He doesn't need to, get hurt as a punter." So I did the normal. When I looked at Matt Ryan, I love to have his knee. When he get into the huddle, his knee was always down.
Mm-hmm. And
I did that for like 6, 7 games. I finally cussed out by my buddy. We were at Lafayette. Mm-hmm. And Lafayette is very loud, the band. That's crazy over there. So, I get on my knee, and he goes, "Get the hell up." Can I cuss?
Yeah,
and he said, "Get the fuck up. We can't hear you." And so I got up. And I said, "All right, ready for a fake punt?" He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I said, "Nah, I'm throwing this." So I threw it. I had thrown that thing 40 yards, and they had caught it. And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go." We still ended up losing. It was Lafayette. It was Lafayette. But, I left, and I graduated. I got first team all district punter, or first team something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. But my game day routine is I always took a nap.
Yeah.
I was always asleep. It was in the trainer's room, had a pillow, blanket.
Oh yeah.
So that I went into that, and sometimes there was even a point in time I fell asleep to the first wave, which is warm-ups for kickers.
Oh damn.
So there's a story about that. But I graduated. I ended up going to York Middle to coach for a year because York High wanted me to be a manager and learner, which I understood that, but the York Middle wanted me to come over there and coach. the kickers
Mm-hmm.
and special teams for a year because they had Norman. A guy named Coach Norman was over there. He said, "Come help. You can come help me. I'll teach you some things about special teams." It's all right, but I went over there and we ended up getting fourth place or something like that. But the group that was there was way better than any other group. I think the middle school might have been able to beat the York JV.
Damn.
So they had played together. The middle school had played together ever since they were the midgets.
Oh yeah.
So they've been together for years, and York High School knew that, and my buddy's friend was the quarterback at York Middle. So we already had connections. I knew my buddy who got me into football since I was in middle school, sixth grade, and I was sitting with him in high school, in history class, and wasn't the best student, but going into that, if I'm going too far, just you just
go ahead, man. Talking.
But we go into it, and we finish in fourth place. He calls me up to do JV, and I'm sitting there doing JV. I did all the special teams for JV, and that was really when I had my first kicker. I had, this guy that didn't want to play. He chose soccer over football. Unfortunately, I think if people that want to play soccer, if you're not already in a high club soccer, unfortunately, you're not going to make it because you can't go. Soccer and football are two different sports. You're not getting recruited in high school unless you're up in those top level clubs. You got to play club if you want to get looked at, and you got to go play out of state.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in football, you could pay, and this is where everything comes into play. You have to pay to go to camps. Unfortunately, you have to.
Camps.
If you want to get looked at and want to go D2 or even D1 or D1 or even D2, you have to go.
Talent.
You have to go to camps. You really, especially as a kicker. I always tell them you have to go to camps. You can't just, unless that you are well known in the area and well known, or you're even having this film that you're kicking 60-yard kicks, touchbacks all the time. Excuse me, but you're at least going D2 if you're doing that.
So here's the thing, right? That I've been hearing a lot about because you've been hearing about the Cowboys thing with Brett Maher and Skip Bayless was talking on his podcast kind of about how he hates kickers and how they shouldn't really be in the game and all that. And so what they've been saying is if you look at the history of kickers in the last 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. The best kickers, all right, are non-Americans. All right, most of them are Australians. Most of them are South Africans, guys that have been playing soccer their whole life. In college, for instance, most kickers are guys who play football and soccer. Mm-hmm. Or guys who are walk-ons that are 26, 27 years old.
So
kickers.
When you talk about that, they're playing club, but they're also playing football.
Mm-hmm.
And they get lots of film on them.
Yeah.
They go to lots of clubs.
Yeah.
Clubs, and they will travel. They will want to go to the international route because look at the... And you don't hear, if you're talking about Australian punters and kickers, I'm playing rugby too.
Yeah.
So they go out of the country because soccer is very huge everywhere, mm-hmm. but it's even bigger if you go out of the country.
Oh, yeah.
So it's soccer, it helps you a lot trying to kick a football, but if you're kicking on the ground, 40, 60 yard kicks, you might as well go D1 because you're out of the country. Yeah. And you're the most shape.
Yeah.
People are you don't want to be the best shape in football if you want to be a kicker. And I'm no, you have to be in shape to be a kicker.
If you look at some of the best kickers in history, right, they were pretty good athletes.
Yeah, but you look at Sandor Jaski. He went
Janikowski.
down. Yeah, Janikowski, my bad.
Yeah.
He went down railed ever since he gained 300 pounds.
He's a big dude.
But he still kicked the hell out of football.
He's a big dude, yeah.
But
and the punter from the Raiders years ago.
King. Marquise King.
The black dude.
He had a lot of problems outside of football.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'm not in the locker room.
You want to watch and stuff.
But if you look at the NFL games, or even this dude's picking up flags, the referee dancing on him. That's why he's not in the NFL because he can't control himself in the game. He's a great kicker. He's probably one of the best kickers ever. But if he can't control himself outside of football, nobody's gonna want you.
And my favorite punter / kicker, Pat McAfee.
Yeah, that dude is crazy. He threw it, tackled. That dude wasn't crazy for nothing. But
when he lit up the return man on Denver, Trenton Holiday, coming out of the sideline, he boom, let him out of bounds. Whatever.
I still watch that play.
And
I actually show kickers sometimes that's what you do. That's what you do. You gotta have swag.
But Trenton Holly was 5'5", 160 pounds. Okay.
But going back to my coaching real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
So I go, because this will be funny actually. So I go going back to the 5'5".
Mm-hmm.
So I go into York. I did good, but it was time to move on. We had actually went 10-0 my last year at York.
What year was that?
2000. Well, it was probably 2019.
Oh,
2019.
No, you're youngin'.
You're
26, and you graduated 2019?
No, I graduated in 2015.
Oh.
But the year they went 10-0.
I graduated
when I was coaching.
Yeah.
So when I was coaching 10-0, it was my last year at York. And so we're playing Lafayette. Lafayette's got some dudes. They got Neville.
Mm-hmm.
Neville's playing tight end at Harvard University. Mm-hmm. This kid was smart. This kid was fast. But we go into that game, we're down 21-7. I think 21-7 or 21-6, but I think it was 21-7. But they were on a 50 or 79 game winning streak for Bay Rivers. It was something crazy like that. We're down, we got the kids, and this is the group that I was talking about in the middle school where they were, been together since midgets. It was their senior year. And we go into that, we get the kids. We really changed the game. And that's why a lot of behind the scenes stuff nobody sees. We got kids. We're like almost to the locker room. Like, all right, we're in the center. Have coaches talk sometimes, but we're in the center. All right, how are we gonna change this? How are we gonna do it? But we got kids. We walk down there, and they're like, all right, guys, come on, motivating each and every one. That instead of, you got the kids. Oh, we're down 21-7. We're in this boat again. Have our heads down, so disappointed. Yeah. We're about to get blown out at home. But instead, we got kids going, yo, what's good? We're good. We got this. Let's go. We're in the same boat. We're still 5-0. We're here for a reason. They're 5-0. We're going to have to fight to stay undefeated.
Yeah.
And the thing about, before I said keep going, but the 3A, the division that they're in, 3A, if you're not at least 9-1 or 8-2, you're almost talking, you're at the 7th seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you don't want to go put team like Phoebus. That's why they're undefeated That's why they're number 1 seed all the time, because they play teams from 4A,
Phoebus 5A.
Yeah, but Phoebus is now going up.
Yeah,
so they're going to 4A next year.
Yeah,
they are. Coach Blunt over there is probably one of the best coaches.
Probably real quick. My dad, he works in the shipyard, and he's been coaching youth football here in Gloucester, and all around for a while and whatnot. But yeah, Phoebus, because I played at Gloucester, and the district that we played in, Warwick, Phoebus, Hampton.
So they've been trying to get out. I'll go back to what I was talking about Lafayette, but they've been trying to get out this year. They were trying to get out of the PD.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they were playing Phoebus this year. They scored a touchdown.
Yeah, I was there at the game.
And which was crazy. And
you know why though, right?
Huh?
You know why?
Well,
right?
they had
because second string.
Yeah. But they scored that touchdown, and they go into it like, okay, we're not getting blown out by this team. We're not. This is embarrassing. Gloucester scored on us. It's probably their first time in a long time.
Do you know what happened after that?
And yeah, because they nailed their first string quarterback, then turned around and nailed their second string quarterback, knocked them out.
Yeah.
And they try to go back out there. And which the AD played it really good, because you don't want the AD, you don't want those kids to get hurt. That's the AD shop. Unfortunately, those kids, they wanted to go back there. The coaches wanted to go back there because it was 21-7. You still think, we score, we're back in. But the AD did it 100% right. You already got 2 of your quarterbacks knocked out. Mm-hmm. It don't matter if it was 2 of your kickers knocked out.
Yeah.
You still, he did it right. Unfortunately, that's just what happens. You don't want those kids getting hurt.
But the thing about it is, because I was sitting there like at the game, whatever, and I was hearing all the parents and all stuff in the crowd and all that. Look here, when Alabama plays Bowling Green or they play SMU, whatever, people don't complain like that. There is a talent gap. It isn't marginal. It isn't moderate. It is so large that these kids, all that I play, 'cause I know a lot of them. You could give each one of them steroids. You can have them training all day, all night.
And the crazy thing about it, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Right.
but I had an interview for Gloucester
Yeah.
last year, and unfortunately, it didn't work out.
They hired an house.
Yeah, they
got boosted money.
Well, I got hired.
Yeah.
They wanted me really bad.
Mhm.
Like I had applied for the soccer job, and the reason I knew about football because I put it in my resume, but they wanted me really bad. It just wasn't the right place for me. It's a lot of driving. It's not like college where you get paid X amount of dollars.
The atmosphere is weird too.
I played against Gloucester. I coached against Gloucester, but going back to coaching about Lafayette real quick, and then we'll get back to Gloucester because we go back in because this is an interesting game. We go back into Lafayette, go back in the field. We had scored a touchdown in like the very first drive. And this is going back to that. Our offense was very new. We already had a let go offensive coordinator. Well, he had went to go coach at Bethel. Mm-hmm. He was at York coaching for 19 years.
Wow.
So this dude, Ben Edwards, and quick, we got some history with Ben Edwards. Ben Edwards was the first player.
Great athlete.
Yeah, great. This dude was crazy. But going back to that, down 21-14, we kicked it. We stopped them. We get the ball back. It was back and forth game until the very second to last drive that we had. Our quarterback had threw a dot to the end zone, scrambling. Lafayette, they got some dudes. They're fast. They always are. But, this dude, our quarterback had thrown a dart just straight in the end zone, the back of the pylon. Crowd's going crazy. I think we ended up going for 2 or at that time the game was, we had scored that touchdown. It was 28-21. So I guess we had scored 2 touchdowns before that. But, it was scored 2 touchdowns before that. But, the last touchdown. But if you get Lafayette into a shotgun, the game's over. Yeah. No matter what, they just never pass. They're not passing. Excuse me. If you know Lafayette, they're never a throwing team. Mm-hmm. They got everyone's got the waggle and all that nice stuff. But if you get Lafayette into shotgun, it's pretty much over. But then we go 10-0, pretty much the rest of the way. We get all the way to the regional championship, and Phoebus is, they're the top dog. Mm-hmm. They always will be. They were always, which is, Coach Blunt is probably the best coach out here. Period. Coach Smith from Hampton. Yeah, unfortunately he retired, but Coach Raymond's back at them.
Yeah, I just heard about that.
I heard, that's gonna be huge for them because they are, everybody knows Denby is not the greatest at football. Mm-hmm. They don't, but nobody goes out there and plays. Over there with those Newport News and Hampton schools,
they basically take their turns. You know what I'm saying? For 2-3 years, it'll be, Ward, for 5 years, be Hampton, because they get so much talent because they're represented a military base.
Yeah.
All these guys.
Denby is short straw of those.
Yeah, of course.
Because no one, you look at, teams like you said, Warwick and Mitchville, Woodside, they're going to those schools. Yeah. Because they know they're a winning program. Mm-hmm. But the crazy thing is, you got kids that went to the NFL that went to Denby. Yeah. Like, Antoine Bethetti, he's at Bethea. Bethea. I think last time I heard he was playing for Niners. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Which, if he is, damn, he got a good weekend coming up. Yeah. But going back real quick to the coaching, I ended up leaving York. We get blown out by Phoebus like always, but because Phoebus is Phoebus. But
they do such spectacular stuff. Like the players be making one-handed catches.
Yeah, they got a kid going to Pitt right now. Jordan Bass. Yeah, Bass. He's going to Pitt. But I got some dudes that won this year. But I go to Bethel. Our first year, my first year, they were already there. Coach Inco was already there. Mm-hmm. But I went there. My very first year was the COVID year.
Oh, I see.
That, we talk about inches away from going to playoffs. And Bethel, we had the talent, but, COVID year, you only get 4 games. If you don't win 3 out of the 4, maybe 4 out of them, you ain't going. Yeah. But our schedule was tough, too, but we were close. I think we only needed like a point. But we go into the next year at Bethel, and, before that, this is very key about this next season. We played Denby. we had a fight
Oh man,
against Denby.
always a fight.
And I'm sitting at and when I mean fight, we had kids going to the freaking sideline, throwing punches, blah blah blah, throwing kids. I'm like, yo. But I got like, the funny thing is, here about kickers. Kickers are never involved in that. I got like kicker over there laughing over on the side. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? He said, I ain't getting enough. Probably get beat up.
I don't know.
And
Yeah, play
so
smart.
yeah. So, but we go into that next season. The week of the game, they're telling us 26 of our 40 kids are suspended.
Damn.
But you know that group, we go into it. Messiah Domo. You know, I'm very good friends with him. I talk to him almost every day. That kid's gonna be the next Michael Vick, in my opinion.
As the quarterback of Ward, right?
He's not the quarterback. He can throw the hell of the ball.
Number 5, right?
Number one. Number one. He's already got.
His name is
Messiah Domo.
My little brother my little brother plays at Gloucester, right? He starts as a sophomore. He's number 7. He's 6 feet tall, which is crazy because no one in our family is over like 5'10". Yeah, but he went to a lot of camps. My dad, like I said, he went to the Michael Robinson camp. He went to the Michael Vick camp. He went to the Allen Iverson camps. He's been to he went to a lot more camps than I did as a kid. I went to one camp. I met Donovan McNabb in 2008.
Oh, that's cool.
No, he scared the shit out of me. Okay, so when you see NFL players, right, you see like the big freak guys like Cam Newton and stuff like that, and then you see like shorter guys, you think, oh, you know, they're small. Donovan McNabb's hands were so big, man. Like when he was like throwing the little K-12 football, his pinky was touching his middle finger around the ball like it was a Nerf ball. I was like,
quarterbacks got really big hands.
And his head was so big. He was just a large man, you know. And, like, he was older. But when he was jogging around, man, like, I couldn't catch him. But at that time, I was, like, 13, 14 years old. But
going back to what we were saying, you know, Messiah Delum, he is a 10th grader.
Yeah.
And I coach soccer at work right now. And this kid, going back to Bethel, you know, this kid could play tight end, receiver, quarterback, but he had to play quarterback for us for 4 games because our backup, he was our backup that Denby fight, but
best athlete got a
quarterback, you know, he had to be thrown into quarterback, and you're telling a guy to go play quarterback who wasn't even prepared to throw quarterback. He'd thrown in practice and all, but you know, he wasn't prepared. Just like, you know, that August, the quarterback knows all the plays. But so you're telling a guy to go in there and be a quarterback the week of the game with no receivers, barely any linemen. So everybody was suspended on that 20. They were all suspended 3 games. Well, it was 4 games because we had to split them up. We could split them up. So half of them had to be suspended first 2, then the other 2 had to be suspended. The other 2. Am I going to?
No.
So, but we go into that Messiah, and we ended up still almost beating Nasbin River, which was crazy. Yeah. You know, you're telling a guy who I think we even had to pull JV kids up.
Damn.
And so you're telling a guy, and you're telling all these freshmen to go up against these 17, 18-year-old kids.
Yeah. That,
you know, and compete. And we give these guys credit. They competed their hearts out. Like, we were in the game till the end of the 4th quarter when they had scored 2 pointless touchdowns. Because they had turned the ball over. But, you know, we have 60, 70 plays that these kids have to learn.
Yeah.
Our offense is not some normal offense. Our offense is, it's a college-based offense. You know, if you know it, then you're way ready for college. Yeah. It's not like all these other schools that have, like, the wing cheese that you can have, like, 6 plays. Yeah. It's not like, you know, York, what they run now, it's like they have like 22 plays or 26 plays that, you know, the playbook's probably way up there by the time I left, but, you know, but our offense is, you know, RPOs and stuff. Like, if you want to come watch some real, you know, football, you know, we're going to fight and we're going to play defense, and we're also going to throw the ball deep. We're not scared to throw a pick. Oh, yeah. But I'll tell you about Grafton if you got time. I'm not too sure. I got all day.
Quickly, right before that. So we were talking about that, you know, Messiah coming in for that, your other quarterback.
I was
So when I played on the lost the Red Knights, back in youth days, whatever, and we played against the Yorktown Patriots. We played over there at York Middle School, and our quarterback was Kyle Rowe, a guy. I don't know if you know him or not, but he was like a PYFA like superstar. He was an 11-year-old that was playing on juniors.
Name sounds familiar.
Everybody knew him. He was basically, his game kind of transferred to like Johnny Manziel's kind of. He wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but he was running around a lot, he was throwing the ball a lot, But we had a play where we did like a double reverse. They hand the ball to the running back, they give it to the receiver, which was me, and I toss it back to the quarterback, and they do,
Oh man, we got some of those things.
I ended up, when I tossed the ball back to him, whatever, he spun around, and the DN came, and I missed the block, and he ended up hurting his back. And that was the last play before halftime, right? So we're sitting over there, on the sideline, having our little Gary stuff, and Coach Core comes to me. And, I had only played football for a year and a half. The first year, I never played. I played one game. I scored twice because they were a really bad team. I was just really fast. The next year, I was the feature back. I was scoring just like every fucking game. And then when Kyle got hurt, Coach goes, "You missed the block, so you're going to quarterback." And I was like... I had never
love it. You gotta love it.
I don't even throw the ball in the backyard. You know what I'm saying? I just catch it. I go out there, ran for 132 yards, threw 2 touchdowns, and rushed for 1.
So that's amazing. That's you gotta love those stories because you always say backups are important, especially in high school because quarterbacks are the hardest position to find.
It's hard to play.
Yeah, it's hard to play, but in high school it's very hard to even get one.
Yeah.
Especially if you can throw the ball.
Because everybody thinks
the quarterback.
I got this.
But going back to Messiah, I'll tell you a little about Messiah. Messiah, he transferred. We had a good year. We ended up almost making the playoffs. And think about it. That year we had lost all the guys. So we ended up going 1-3 or 2-4. We went 2-4 because we had to play Gloucester and Denby. So we ended up going 2-4. 2-2. And we're like, all right, we still got a season, we still got a shot, and we're missing 4. We have 13 of the 26 gone, basically in the first 4 games. But Messiah was the team. We had a great season, and we unfortunately couldn't make the playoffs. Missed it by a point because Kigatana beat Tab. So they weren't tapping on a 6-game winning streak that year, which was great for them. And a good first head coach first year, so they made the playoffs. But unfortunately, we couldn't make it. But if we make it, not saying we're going to go far, but you always don't think that's coach. But anything happens in the playoffs. You're 0-0 at the end of the day.
So tying into that playoff stuff here, I want to segue into the playoffs coming up this weekend. Bengals and Chiefs. Who you got?
So, Bengals and Chiefs. Burrowhead, I think that's what they're calling it now. I think they're getting too cocky, which plays a favor in the Chiefs because they think they can just go in there and roll over. I think the Chiefs are going to pull it off. Chiefs are very interesting. They don't just have Tyreek Hill just to throw it to or Travis Kelce.
Well, Tyreek Hill's
I'm saying, but they don't just, that's what happened the last couple of years. They just all they had was Tyreek Hill. Then you might get that one guy that says, "Oh, I'm going to go, have a big game."
Yeah.
They got Juju Smith, I think Ponchi, the running back, and then McKinnon.
Pacheco,
yep. Ponchi. But Pacheco, and then you got McKinnon. And
who scores?
And then I think they got Scantley.
Sky Moore.
And then Sky Moore, and then too. That dude, I can't believe he made it all the way to 6th round of that type of speed. But because usually you think of that, it's like,
and Kadarius Toney.
I'm starting you on special teams. And they got Toney. I thought that was huge.
That was
because the Giants never played. He got hurt, but I don't think Toney wanted to be there. I think he knew that wasn't the right situation for him. But, the Giants just never gave that dude a chance. Yeah. I mean, he was inactive now. There was some injury history coming out of there, or injury.
And I heard, too, that he had caused some things, like, off the field, too.
Yeah. So, Tony, I don't think the Giants were the right fit for him.
No.
Which was surprising to me that they drafted him so high.
Young guys, like it's hard to flourish in New York or
that's huge.
It's so much media, so much stuff to do.
So coming back to the Chiefs and Bengals game, you look at the Chiefs' best offense. In my opinion, that's the best offense probably right now out of the 4 teams.
Yeah.
But the problem comes into, will the defense be able to stop every weapon the Chiefs have? Because I didn't even speak about Travis Kelce. That dude's a freak on his own.
Yeah.
But, I'm hoping McKinnon starts getting back into it because, you look at the last playoff game, I don't even think I saw him on the field too much. But, he's a great, and you look at it the last 3 games, they had 3 or 4 games McKinnon had in the regular season. That dude had scored twice, 100 yards. And you look at the last playoff game they had, I don't even think I could be wrong, but I don't think he was on the field too much.
No.
But, the running back, Pacheco, that dude's crazy good. I'm waiting to see what they do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
They have like a team that's like plug in by like committee.
Yeah.
Whoever is on the field is going to get the ball. Like Mahomes going to have his points regardless.
And that's the other thing about Patrick Mahomes. He got hurt. And if you saw him last weekend, it was like, don't pull me out, I'm good. But, the Chiefs, if you looked at the DeMar Hamlin.
They still scored twice in the game too.
Yeah, and then you look at DeMar Hamlin, then you look at Tua's concussion thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guaranteed the NFL has emailed all these trainers, if these guys have injuries, you need to make sure they're healthy before they go back in because we got to cover ourselves. So, he was like, put me in, nudge. Just go check with the trainer and see if where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get it. He wants to win this year, but he's under contract for at least another 8 years.
Yeah.
I think. He signed that 10-year contract,
mm-hmm.
which was crazy.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. I couldn't believe they actually did it.
When I saw it, and it didn't register when it's like the highest contract in all of sports. And so I'm thinking back, I'm like, damn, there's baseball, there's boxing contracts and all that. I'm like,
yeah, which
is crazy.
Which is crazy to me that they did that. But you understand why they did that. Because he already had won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude is not no ordinary quarterback. He's not going to, go down. You look at Blake Bortles and those quarterbacks that made it far in the, not so good teams.
Mm-hmm.
And Blake Bortles went all the way to the AFC Championship. And, I don't think we ever heard him again. He got traded.
Mark Sanchez, too.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez, But they knew Patrick Mahomes was not that type of quarterback. That dude was going to go off. Like Alex Smith. I felt bad for that man,
He's always been... So Alex Smith right now, so if you look at like the comps of him like around the league, you can say things like maybe like Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins.
Alex Smith, I liked Alex Smith in Kansas City.
He won.
But yeah, he won.
Just didn't win the big games.
What the difference between Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes? Yes. Patrick Mahomes is, he could throw that ball like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Alex Smith was getting at the age, but they looked at Patrick when they drafted him. They knew that dude was going to be a star.
Yeah, the arm.
The arm talent, which was crazy. Think about those. I think he was the 15th pick, or no, he was the 10th pick. In my opinion, I think he was the 10th. But you look at those 9 other teams; they're probably looking at themselves, and heck, Atlanta's probably one of those 9 teams. They're looking at like saying, "Man, we could have had a franchise quarterback." But you just never know. Yeah. But that's important about around the season, like the back end of everybody. That's what the scouts. Those are nobody's looking at. They're just looking at like, all right, who is our GM gonna hire?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? No, it's not just the GM. You got the scouts. You got each region's got its own scout. So you might have like 20 scouts that might be in your area, which I learned when I had a guy go to UVA and he was a scout and he only had like 3 states and he told me like, oh, we have 15 scouts around the East Coast, and then we turn around and have 10 or 15 on the West Coast. I'm like, dang, y'all got 30 scouts. Yeah, but we only got 3 states. But what they do is they give them a list, and they say, all right, go look at these 20 players. Out of those 20 players, look at their film when you're on the flight, and maybe pick 2 out of the 20.
Yeah.
And they do that for each state. So you might have a kid looking at 60, which when he told me what his job was, he made like $12, $13 an hour. And I'm like, that's all you made? He said, well, I'm a college student too. I'm like, yeah, but they're telling you to go out of state, But he tells me, but they pay for hotel, food. I'm always on the clock, which was crazy to me. He said, when I'm asleep, I'm getting paid. I said, okay, now that $12 an hour is looking pretty damn good.
Because it's all day long, yeah.
So, but going back to the Chiefs, the Chiefs are, I think they're going to win the game. I think Harrison Buckner is going to be huge for him. If you look at the beginning of the season, this dude was struggling.
Yeah.
And they were telling him, like, oh, are you even going to, we're going to replace you. We signed a guy. But, the Chiefs, what makes difference with kickers, going back to kickers, you have to have confidence. And your team has to have confidence in you. Which, if they would have got rid of Buckner, that would have been the most craziest thing I've ever seen, because that dude can make 60-yard kicks, he can make game-winning kicks, and...
Question. Remember the night of the fantasy football draft?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys were probably all locked in and stuff, in the draft. I was here, it was my birthday. I was sitting on the couch, I had my friends over. I was super drunk. I missed
I remember that.
I missed a lot of them. But do you remember who I took in the second round?
Buckner.
No.
I don't.
Justin Tucker.
Oh, man. Remember? I was so pissed. I looked at that.
I took Justin Tucker.
Look, in my fantasy career, this year was a little different because he was gone. I had Justin Tucker every single fantasy team I had. I drafted him in like the 4th round, or maybe 5th. It was like whatever the hundreds were. Mm-hmm. And I had drafted him every year. But, I had the worst luck in fantasy. I make it to the, first round of the playoffs. Yeah. And whoever I lose to, and this is 3 years straight, whoever I lose to, they ended up winning the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And if I were to beat that person in the first round, I'd blow everybody out.
Yeah.
Which pisses me off. But, that's fantasy for you. But
Justin Tucker, right? Like, there was a stretch of games where, especially when Lamar got hurt, he was giving me, like mid-range running back points. 15, 16 points, because, they weren't scoring. They were just getting field goals and stuff. And it's like, if I was NFL front office, and let's say I had, an all-right team while I'm starting, a rebuild, I'm using a second or third round pick on kicker. If he's a surefire,
Well, you remember when Tampa Bay did that with the Florida State kicker?
Oh yeah, I know
the Hawaiian dude.
Yeah, he was really good in college, but kind of flamed out.
Yeah, his brother was at Florida State. I don't know whatever happened to him, but he's a real estate agent now.
Yeah. But
NFL teams probably looked at that and said, "Do not waste a second round, draft pick on a kicker.
You'll know.
You'll know who it is, but do not waste. Because look at that dude now. That dude struggled his butt off.
Do you watch college football kickers? The kicker from Georgia?
Oh, that dude's crazy.
He's going right.
So if you looked at the Georgia kicker, what's just crazy to me is when they had Rodrigo, that went to the Colts. He struggled inside where he struggled on the field goals part. We'll just say that. I can't remember. But no, he struggled on the mid-range, the 40 to 49. But what's crazy, he'd make a 60-yard kick over a 40-yard kick.
I heard, sorry to cut you off. I heard from one of my friends who kicked at Peninsula a long time ago was that kicking long ones sometimes is easier because it's you're putting all your leg into it. It's hey, if it gets there, it gets there. If it doesn't. Yeah. When it's shorter, you're kind of aiming it.
Well, the thing about NFL kickers, and I will say this, I think it's wrong. I think it's horrible. I think it needs to be changed. The NFL kickers, if you miss a kick, Monday you're probably cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you miss 2, you're cut.
Oh yeah.
And then now the extra points. I don't think they should have moved the extra points so far back. Now, don't get me wrong, it makes the games more interesting. But they shouldn't have moved them back because it's an extra point. You had ran the ball, or you had got 80 yards for a touchdown. The point should be easy. But it makes the game interesting, makes it more fun because if you're down by a point, all you gotta do is call timeout and rush the kicker. But you score a touchdown, it should be easy extra point.
So as a special teams coordinator, right? Have you watched any USFL games or XFL games?
I don't, but those kinds of games, it's real special teams, but they put a little bit more mix on those special teams.
So I watched USFL because my cousin played in it like years ago, and USFL is way better than the XFL.
I'm not gonna say the new league that they had. I've watched it.
Yeah.
But if I do remember, they canceled it halfway through.
Yeah.
I think
the XFL got canceled, but the USFL is back again. It's been going on for the last 2 years.
Well, yeah, I knew about that. I think I watched maybe 3 or 4 games of it, and then it was just. So
what they have in the USFL, they have the 1 point, the 2 point, and the 3 point.
I didn't like that
conversion. Which honestly, they had in USFL they had the body cam on the running back going through the hole, which I thought was
that.
Really
I thought that was
cool.
They were trying to do that for the NFL, but
and the guys who run the USFL were the head refs and stuff from the NFL and the Rock. So what they're talking about doing next year in NFL is possibly implementing that 1, 2, 3 point thing, right? So you can go for 1 point, 2 points from the 5 or 3 points from the 10.
What was that league called again?
USFL.
So I think before that season started, they were trying to do those certain things. They want to see if the NFL would do it.
Yeah.
But the NFL, if you do that to the NFL, it's gonna just bore a lot of people off.
And another thing that was really cool too was they had that behind them camera on the kickoff. They would kick the ball, and when the guy would run it back, the camera would be right behind them, kind of. They had drones. I thought that was really cool, and everybody on the team was mic'd up.
So I will say this about the drones and things. All right, it's hard. Computers and all that, they all malfunction. So let's say if you're throwing a touchdown, and you throw it, 40 yards, and all of a sudden your drone malfunctions. And the dude's wide open, and you throw a touchdown. Your football, the drone comes in the middle of the football, or if your receiver comes out and you see the drone in the football. So they shouldn't do that because if you're a fan, you're gonna love that he dropped the ball. Yeah. But if you're not a fan, if you're a fan, you're gonna be pissed.
The thing about it too is that was actually a talking point 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that the drones are on strings, right? They're not actually
but at the same point about that is, those aren't strings. But I get if you ever been to a game, I'm pretty sure if you have to, it goes way up and down. But I don't think they should have that in the middle. It's if I was a player, but I could be wrong, but it's distracting.
Well, at SoFi, they don't have that. They have free drones going around, but they're fucking. See, I've never been there, obviously, to freaking SoFi. The tickets are, out of this world. They're $2,500 for way nosebleeds. You know what I'm saying? That's
the Giants.
When the Giants played out there when it first opened
that's
up,
Chicago.
Whatever, and that was
SoFi, Chicago. Right?
SoFi, no, that's the Chargers. The Rams, the Rams Chargers, that
brand
new high tech one out there that has the open dome.
I couldn't remember what.
They have heated, seats and all that stuff out there.
My memory's not the greatest because every stadium's got their own name.
Yeah,
and it's
SoFi Stadium is
it
makes Jerry Jones' stadium look old.
Have you ever been to Dallas Cowboys?
I have not been there.
I was there for my birthday, couple years ago. And my buddy had bought me a ticket, and he said, "Just go enjoy yourself." Bought me ticket, hotel, and everything. So that was my birthday. He was really.
Was that your buddy or your secret boyfriend?
My buddy. I helped him out, and so I think as a gift, I helped him out way a long time ago. And here, go enjoy it. But I didn't go to the Falcons game. I told him it was the Monday night game. against the Eagles.
Oh.
When they had blown them out or they lost. One of the two, I can't remember. But I get a couple, things. I'm the only guy, and I'm the only guy that is wearing yellow in a whiteout game.
Wow.
So there's a video on me on Facebook. So whenever I go to games, I always had the whiteout football.
Mm-hmm.
So get autographs. And so Fletcher Cox comes up to me. He goes, "Dude, did you not get the memo?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm a high school coach. I have Bethel gear on. I don't care. It's my birthday." He said, "It's your birthday?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." He said, "All right, let me see that football." And so the little boy is sitting right next to me, and he goes, and Fletcher Cox only signed one autograph and he had left.
Yeah.
And because they don't like to sign. If you're
They
a big
don't.
time, they don't.
Yeah.
They'll stop. But you go into that, and the little boy over there is like, "I wish I would have got Fletcher. He's got his jersey." And Fletcher Cox just, he's a nice guy. He comes back out, and I yell at him and say, this little boy is, crying. When King signed his jersey. He was nice enough to do it. And then I got Jalen Hurts' autograph, and he comes up to me. This was the one that's on Facebook. Jalen Hurts comes up to me, and I say, "It's my birthday. Do you think you signed the football?" And he's got his headphones, and he said, "Do what?" I said, "It's my football. Can you sign it? It's my birthday." He goes, "Hell yeah, sign it. Where are you from? Virginia." He said, "Are you crazy? How far that way is?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm leaving." I told him, I said, "I'm leaving tomorrow morning." He said, "I don't know how the hell you got up here. You hear anybody?" I said, "No." But Dallas Cowboys, if they had a Monday night, I don't know how they do it on Sunday, but on Monday, they tailgate all day on Monday.
Like the Bills.
Yeah, yeah. But they tailgate. They do. They got the sausage. It's Texas.
Oh yeah.
So
Barbecue, all that.
Walmart, which is crazy, they did this. Walmart. I don't know who built it first, but Walmart. Dallas, Texas is right here. Walmart's not even. It's across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And which I was like, damn, you can if you forget your meat or you forgot beer, just walk right across the street and get your stuff. Which you walk into that Walmart and there's clothes of Dallas Cowboys. I got pictures. The piggy bank is out there. It's huge, nice. The whole front of the store is nothing but Dallas, obviously.
Yeah.
But other it's always busy. But you can always get your stuff. But there's tow trucks out there all the time because you don't want them to be busy. But I go back out to the guy and I'm like, do you want me to get you something? Do you want some money? This dude's cooking prime rib, ribs, sausages out there. And I said, you want some money? No, dude, come on out. Just so I partied with this group. I had the Falcons jersey on, which is funny as hell. And I walk out to the dude, and we had partied for like 6 or 7 hours. And I finally said, I gotta go to the hotel. And tell me, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, ribs and beer. So drinking beer, and I got it till like 3 o'clock. I said, I gotta go home and take a shower and sober up. And so I go back. I get to the, Dallas. It's like 3 hours before the game starts. Dallas has like a party right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go over to this tent, and I see a special line over there. So I went up to one of them. It only had like 6 people. And I walk up to one of them and was like, "Hey, do you mind me asking, what is this little ticket y'all got?" "Oh, this is the game ticket. You can get in 30 minutes early." I said, "Where is it?" He said, "It's right over there." So I go into this tent, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, it's $20. You can go into Dallas Cowboys Stadium, 30 minutes early." They only had like maybe 150 of them, which I've been to like 6 or 7 stadiums, and I've never seen that happen. Usually you have to pay like a field pass. So, but I go into that and paid like $20 or $30, but I was expecting like $100 to get into Dallas Cowboys Stadium. Early. And they asked me, "When's your birthday?" I had to sign it. I was like, it's 9/27/96. Lady goes, 9. "Oh, happy birthday! Here's a ticket." I was like, "You want money?" "No, just go." So, I get into the stadium early, and you would think they would have restrictions on it because, you're in there early. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
No, dude, you got free. I went all the way down to the field, and I was the only one dude signing. But and Dallas has there's not a bad seat in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to have the Super Bowl there all the time.
Yeah.
Because you look at the ticket prices now, they're like $30,000, $20,000, maybe $10,000 just to the very top.
Mm-hmm.
But if you sit on the very top, you got the
the Megatron.
Yeah. Megatron up there. Then you turn around and you have TVs everywhere. There's little TVs everywhere, so there's not a bad seat in Dallas. But they're trying to. Obviously, it's a money thing, so they don't want to always be in Dallas and it get boring. But there's always lots of things in Dallas. People are great, and then also I went to the Bengals preseason game against their Commanders. Now I think it was the football team. I think it was 2 years ago, and I brought a couple of my football players with me. They've never been, but it was a preseason game, and those are the best times to get autographs.
Mm-hmm.
So at home. I'm always the first person or the second person in line in NFL games because I have football. So I told the kids, I said, look, you go we're tailgating out there an hour and a half when the gates open. I said, look, y'all can clean up, do whatever, and I'm running in there to get autographs. He said, so they didn't believe me. So I was like 30 minutes before the gates opened. I had stopped eating and ran up there, and they called me. They're like, wait, what are you doing? We got to clean up. I told y'all 30 minutes, I'm out. So they didn't think I was serious. So I went inside the gate. I ran down there, and not even 2 minutes after I just stopped, Joe Burrow comes up to me. And, I'm not a Falcons fan. I'm a Falcons fan. I'm not a Bengals fan. But I didn't have any of the Falcons gear because you're wearing it. Mm-hmm. They're probably not going to sign it. But Joe Burrow, I am so glad I caught Joe Burrow, had my football. And this dude signed my football. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. Good luck this season. Oh, yeah. That dude's probably the chillest quarterback ever because he signed my football. He didn't sign anybody else's. Yeah. But, during preseason, halftime, that's when every starter signs it. So, but I ended up getting like 30 autographs.
Hell yeah.
So I got Jamar Chase's autograph on there. And his autograph, I don't know what it is now. Everybody changed autograph. But when I got his autograph, it's just a J. Chase. That's like a normal signature. It's nice. It's a nice signature, but it's just J. Chase 1. I'm like, that's so. It's like the normal signature I've ever seen in my life.
You gotta keep those footballs, man.
Yeah. So I got a couple footballs at home. And then I got obviously Jalen Hurts and Fletcher Cox at home, but
they go. 30 years.
Well, just think if they win the Super Bowl. But I went to the USA game a couple years ago. And if you ever get a chance to go see an international game, those are probably the best tailgates. So much fun because everybody's coming out of the country, and they want to invite you to everything.
So not to cut you off or nothing like that, man. Tailgating. I was in the Army for,
thank you for your service.
For 3 years. You're welcome, man. I was stationed in Fort Carson, Colorado. And, anything about Colorado, it's also where the Air Force Academy is. Mm-hmm. There's big games in college football, but in that little chasm right there, Air Force, Army, Navy, those games right there, free beer, free alcohol. I tailgated out there for the Army Air Force game. I'm talking about guys.
That's probably the best time of your life.
Guys tailgating in uniform. Guys tailgating in it is. You go out there,
and if you get some sauce on your uniform, you're running around. But thank you to everybody for their service. Military. I always support the military. When I got older, I really, every time I'm on the base working, sometimes couple days a week, and I always say, thank you for your service. You guys might be traveling everywhere, but your family might be 600 miles away. Yeah. Or if you're getting deployed, you're 1,000 miles away for 2 or 3 years, and you might not see, the kids and the parents. I don't mean to go back on football, but the kids and the parents, I feel so bad for them not to see their husband or wife for that many times. And I see the video. You see the videos on YouTube when they reunite with him.
I've been there.
Sometimes I shed a tear. It's like, damn, you haven't seen your dad or mom in over so many years. It's like you don't even know what they look like when they come home but I support the military. Military is really, they're fighting for us. The things about the police officers nowadays, I don't want to get too deep because we're, debating and all that, but the police, the things that happen I'm not too sure about this, but the thing in Memphis.
Those calls were out of line.
Huh?
Those calls were way out of line.
Yeah.
Way out of line.
Now, I'm not going to talk in too much deep into it because I'm not too sure. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a big political person at all. Like, if you ask me a political question, I'm probably...
Have you watched the video?
No. I've watched it. I watched a little bit of it. No, I'm not a big political person. Now, what I am going to say here, because I'm going to keep it short, is if you do something wrong, you deserve to be punished.
Mm-hmm.
If you do something wrong, then you either if you do something right, then it should be, you should not be fired or anything.
Yeah.
But if you do something wrong, then you need to be punished, and it needs to be 100% right. Now, I feel sorry for the guy that passed away because I read he was only 29, which is crazy. I was like, he had the rest of his life ahead of him. But the cops now, and then I think they were saying some ambulance people were. So somebody was saying, I read something on the news that carried on that they were let go.
So what happened was, I can try to give you most of the full story, whatever. There were these, a guy was driving, right, and he was put over for reckless driving, okay, and he's put over for reckless driving or whatever. When the cops pulled him over on a body cam, they were walking up to his car and they were already yelling at him. All right, they were already yelling like, "Hey, motherfucker, like you done fucked up. This is, this is it for you." When they opened, they didn't even say, "Hey, like get out of the car." They walked up to the car, they pulled him out, whatever, and they threw him on the ground. And they started stomping on him. Once they started stomping on him, whatever, they put him on handcuffs. Then they picked him up, and 3 of them held him up while the other 2 beat him with the baton and punched him repeatedly.
Ooh.
Then they threw him back on the ground and they kicked him in the head. And they believed that kick right there was what killed him.
So people like that, they never needed to be in power. They will go to jail, and then they're done for the rest of their lives.
And to top it all off, they fist bumped at the end. And the people that were in the ambulance, when the ambulance pulled up, it was 2 ambulances and a firefighter. And the whole time the guys on the ground like twitching and like gasping for air, they're all just like standing around, like just talking, like And then by the time he gets to the hospital or whatever, it was too late to save him.
So in that situation, the cops obviously they're on the wrong, but. The cops, they never needed to be in power. And, obviously, if you're doing something like, everybody makes mistakes. You get drunk driving behind the wheel, but you never want to do drunk driving because, yes, you'll get arrested for DUI, but, if you look at Henry Ruggs, obviously you feel bad for the victim, and I don't feel bad for Henry Ruggs. He could have just called an Uber. Yeah. Could have just done anything.
So rich, man.
Come on. He could have done a lot of other things, but instead he got, and if you look at Derek Carr's press conference, we're here behind you no matter what, you're my brother. Now, hopefully he still, stands by that, because, I think Henry Ruggs will eventually have to serve some time.
He's already in jail for 10 years.
Is he?
Yeah, 10 years.
Like I said, I'm not.
I'm pretty sure it's 10 years. I'm pretty sure it's 10 years, either 10 or 12 years. I remember when he got because
last thing I heard it was not, he wasn't guilty. But like I said, I'm not the big political person.
Yeah, I'm very tapped into.
So that's what he was in the wrong. So he needs whatever there is. But go back to those cops. They don't need to be in power. Obviously, you want to obey the cops. If you got great cops out there.
Yes,
you got great cops. Yeah, if you just follow the rules, they're not gonna bother you. But you got those cops, and obviously in Memphis that obviously in the wrong.
I think the thing really because look here, I'm pretty sure you go on Facebook and you go down on those videos, whatever, and watch them. Like you see a lot of those Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episodes when they would running with the cops and stuff like that, or like Family Matters and shit like that. And I think, and this is coming from black man's perspective, I really feel like I feel like a lot of times, and I've been around people like this, a lot of people say to themselves, well, I mean, I don't see it. You know, it doesn't happen to me. You know, it doesn't affect me. I've never seen it. Here's a good example. When I was in high school, right, I was going to prom, okay? I drove to prom, but, you know, it's high school prom, everybody drinks and stuff a little bit, right? So me and my dates ended up coming back in a limousine with, I think it was four other couples, long-ass limousine, okay? So when we get back across the bridge, we come to the toll, right? When we come to the toll, a cop comes from around the corner, all right? So I was dating a white girl at the time, but that wasn't who I was with. I was with a black friend, whatever, because, you know, ironically enough, her parents wouldn't let me go to prom with her, you know what I'm saying? So we're sitting there in the back of the limousine, and the cop comes around, and they're doing a DUI checkpoint, you know? Don't get me wrong here. I understand. But a DUI checkpoint is for the driver, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, you know, they flash their lights in the back, whatever, and all that. And they asked me and the girl, I'm not going to say her name, to get out of the limo. Just me and her, not the other couples.
Oof.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm asking him, hey, like, what's wrong, whatever. And they put us against the car and they pat us. They pat us down. I later on found out that he shouldn't have patted her down because she was a female minor. They should have had a female cop come and do it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But they patted us down. Then they called our parents. You know what I'm saying? And I had just shook this girl's fucking dad's hand when I, you know, picked her up and said, hey, you know, I'm going to take care of her, you know, all that, blah, blah. He was in the Navy, all that. And so I ended up getting in trouble for nothing. I mean, we were drinking, obviously, whatever, but, I mean, for nothing.
That's a bad situation to be in.
And the thing about it was, you know, like, at the time, I didn't even realize it was, like, could have been tied to, like, a racial thing. You know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just unlucky tonight, you know. But then looking back at it, I'm like, damn, they didn't check the driver, they didn't check anybody else, just us two, you know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so the police have really been under fire over the past, 6-7 years. Ever since the guy on the media.
They're being held accountable.
Yeah, they are under, there are some guys that just shouldn't be in power, but we'll get off that topic because, we really don't want to get into political things because, like I said, I'm the worst political person ever talked to. Hey, I have an opinion, but...
That's the thing about it. It's all about opinions, you know what I'm saying? There's no right or wrong answer.
So, but going back, the police, there's all amazing police out there. There's good police. My friend that was football playing with us in high school, he's a detective now. Mm-hmm. He was a nice kid, but you just have to, police just got to, hopefully the police will get everything right. Mm-hmm. But, this world's not a perfect place. You do stuff like that, you'll get punished and you should be punished. They'll spend the rest of their lives in jail. But, going back to football, the other game is, the Eagles and 49ers.
Yes.
So
I got money on this game too.
So I'll tell you something interesting. And I think, the last team to beat the 49ers, I think, was the Falcons. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at that game, watching it, and get to Monday. I'm like, man, we beat the 49ers. We're like 4-3, 3-5, 3-6, so on. And the Tampa Bay is like, 4-6. And I'm like, oh man, we got a shot, somehow we got a shot. Monday comes out, they get Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. I'm looking over my buddy. He's looking at his phone. He was a 49ers fan, sitting at Walmart. He goes, man, are you kidding me? Why couldn't we have this on Sunday? I said, what? McCaffrey traded the 49ers. I said, yes, we didn't have to play McCaffrey.
That was a game breaker right there.
I said, thank God. But, Brock Purdy, man, I think if he goes to any other offense,
he's trash.
It's going to be hard for him. Now, what crazy to me about it is, because if you have a Purdue like Christian McCaffrey and then Debo, mm-hmm. That's a team on its own.
So, not only like getting in front of you or anything, but I was thinking, because I watch First Things First a lot, all right? And Nick Wright always talks about how you can plug any quarterback in that offense, whatever, and it would look good. And to a certain extent, that's correct.
Yeah, Brock
You know what I'm
Purdy
saying?
is good.
But I believe this, all right? And I don't want to be like the prisoner of the moment and that stuff. But every 2 years, all right, if you look at it historically, right, a new good to great quarterback has emerged. Whether it be a first round pick or a late round guy. In 2012, it was Russell Wilson. In 2014, Derek Carr. In 2016, it was Dak Prescott.
So I'll say this about the draft: if you make it to the draft or the NFL or even the practice squad, you're fucking fantastic.
I think Brock Purdy is going to be.
Now the real interesting question is what's really going to happen to Brock Purdy. What's going to be interesting is that if they win the Super Bowl or even come close to in this game this weekend, they'll have a tough decision on their hands because you got a guy, Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
They've wasted 3 picks. Well, not wasted, but they gave away 3 picks. Or maybe 5. It was 3 to 5, something crazy.
Their best bet.
So that's going to be the interesting thing, what they do with him.
Their best bet going forward. Because look at it, right now, I think that win or lose, you got to keep Purdy.
Yeah. Garoppolo's gone.
Garoppolo, you can get something for him. Because I know for a fact, in someone's mind, Houston or Miami, someone's like,
think about it. New England.
New England's a good spot.
Mac Jones, he's very questionable right now.
Do you know? Okay, so I saw this on First Things First. Here's a deal that I thought was crazy. Derek Carr for Mac Jones, straight up.
Well, we won't, and with that trade, I don't think it can't be straight up because you got to look at both contracts.
Here's the thing, though. Mac's going to be coming up for a contract, okay?
Yeah.
What Derek Carr is being paid right now is like the middle of the pack money.
Derek Carr, we all knew Derek Carr was gone when he had posted all that, posts. But he shouldn't have, I don't think players need to say goodbye if you're still on the contract.
Yeah.
That's just proving you gave up or you just said, screw it, I'm out. Because look at Aaron Rodgers. He baits every time it's his final season.
I hate Aaron Rodgers.
And, Caleb's going to kid me seasons. Caleb's going to be like, what the hell did you say on this? But, Aaron Rodgers, you never know if he's retiring, done. They don't even know on first take, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers, he's a great quarterback. But if you put him on the 49ers...
Yeah, the ball placement, everything. It's just that team right now, right? And here's the thing, right? They're better off going forward with Brock Purdy. Here's why. Rookie deal. You got to pay him for the next 4 years.
Well, Trey Lance is still on his rookie deal.
But I believe you would rather have Purdy in than try to plug in Trey and be like, let's hope.
Trey hasn't played a full season. He's played maybe like 6 games, if that. I'm counting preseason. If you count preseason, maybe 8.
Yeah.
So we really don't know what Trey Lance is about yet. But you never know. This dude, Trey Lance, might come out, next year and throw 6,000 yards, 5,000 yards, and 34 touchdowns and make it the same way as Brock Purdy. But
you run that.
You got to take that chance.
You kind of run that risk of I say this. Let him find out in camp. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let him find
it's
out.
Definitely gonna be
If Purdy just definitively wins, you know that you have Purdy as your quarterback, especially if you win the Super Bowl this year. If
he wins the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy heads into training camp.
That's the best story ever.
Well, yeah.
The last pick in the draft, rookie quarterback winning the Super Bowl.
But if he wins the Super Bowl, I think he's week 1 starter.
And he has the most pressure than any quarterback has ever had in week 1 ever.
Oh, yeah. And then, but the crazy thing is, you look at Brock Purdy, and they're already comparing him to Tom Brady. You can't compare Tom Brady into Brock Purdy.
You know who brought Purdy?
Only because, just look at the teams.
You know who brought Purdy? Reminds me of, and some people were call me crazy for it. He kind of reminds me of Joe Montana. All right, not because he's mobile and stuff, but Joe was a quiet guy, but he made all the right plays, and when he made a mistake, he didn't make it twice.
Now, Brock Purdy, I am going to say this, Brock Purdy deserves all the credit for being 8-0. If he would have just lost a game,
Yeah.
I think he's so much under pressure, but we don't know because we're not behind the scenes. But he's got to have it on his back of his mind. If I make a mistake, we're done.
Yeah.
But also, I think he should have lost a regular season game to know what it truly feels like to lose. Because let's say he loses this weekend and that confidence level going into training camp is like, all right, now I can't throw a bad ball because when I play a good team, I throw 2 interceptions and
we lose.
yeah, we're done. But the Cap solid, if they're not going to be able to keep Debo and Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk's gone.
Yeah, Ayuk is probably gone, but you look at George Kittle. Kittle will stay
because Jawan Jennings can step to that role.
And you look at the draft, and then there's some talented receivers in the draft
and free agents.
Free agents. So it just matters what I don't know what their cap situation is, but they're gonna have to pay Christian McCaffrey if they're gonna stay. Christian McCaffrey's he's in his prime now.
Yeah.
Like, he was in his prime in Carolina.
The thing about it is, he's in that spot, though, in that danger zone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if he was 22, you could pay him 4 years.
I think he's 26.
Yeah. Right now, though, he's in that danger zone of, hey, if I pay him now, I get a good season, and then I get, diminished returns. But he's playing a system where they could also get another back and make it like a 3-headed monster.
So, but they do have
Elijah Mitchell.
He's not even in. He's in, but
yeah,
he's not in.
When he comes in, he's fresh. He has a lot of yards.
But he's not gonna stay.
No.
But they're gonna have to find somebody like a,
They need a veteran back behind him that can take.
And that won't kill you.
Do you know who the best journeyman back I think is right now in the league? Just straight journeyman. Latavius Murray. All right, every team he goes to, Baltimore, Broncos, Tech, wherever he goes, he'll give you a solid 15 carry, 89 yards, touchdown, 2 catches. They need a guy like that, a guy that when McCaffrey, because he will get hurt at least once, twice in a year. You need a guy that is steady, won't fumble the ball. I think a guy kind of like James Conner.
James Conner's a starter in this league.
Yeah.
You looked at last year, he's a
But if you look at
you gotta look at his injury history. That was his first year.
Look at teams that have 2 starting caliber backs.
Just look at Carolina when McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson and
look at the Falcons.
Oh yeah, Falcons.
Algier, Hundley, and Patterson. That's 3 backs. And look at the Bears, Herbert and
Montgomery, and then then the Justin Fields is obviously in that too.
I didn't so I only watched a few Bears games. But when I tuned into Game Day Live one day, I was watching one of the games, and he took off running. And I was like, oh, these guys are coming like this. And that's what I was saying in the group chat. I'm not saying he's the most skilled running quarterback ever. But just as far as just tucking the ball and going.
Well, the problem comes into with the Bears is this offseason is probably going to be the most important offseason of their careers, the GMs and head coach and everybody, and that whole front office. Only because they got the number 1 pick in the draft this year, so they necessarily everyone knows that C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young, and you got I think there's one more in there, but Caleb Williams. I don't think he's next year, but. There's one more guy. I can't put my name on it.
There's C.J. Stroud. There's Bryce Young. And then there's Will Levis.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Prototypical.
So they got 3 quarterbacks coming out of the draft, but in the top 10, they got 3 because you look at the top 10
I'm so worried about
Colts
Bryce Young.
Need a quarterback. Texans need a quarterback. Now the big question is going to come into is, will the Bears trade for a wide receiver and get picks?
They're probably going to.
They're going to have to.
They're probably going to take the number 1 pick, Jalen Carter from Georgia.
There's already. I think there's going to be talks about. I think the Colts will trade. I'll tell you why.
He's the best Texans I've ever seen.
Because the Colts need a quarterback bad.
They have a good team.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Their team,
but they're going to have to trade either Pittman or Jonathan Taylor. Or they're going to. I don't know who else they really had because Matt Ryan is not. I'm a Falcons fan. I love Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan turned the fan of Falcons.
The other receiver that they have, outside of Pittman, the other guy, Goodness gracious, it ain't Cox. That's a tight end.
Campbell.
Yeah, Paris Campbell.
He's not gonna be enough.
What they're gonna do is they won't gut the offense because that's their bread and butter. They can trade that linebacker that they have, that really good linebacker. What's his name? He's like the best linebacker. Like,
well, Roquan Smith is gone.
No. On the Colts.
The
linebacker
Leonard.
Yeah. They
I can't remember what his first name
because
is now.
in this league now, linebackers go for.
Well, last year the problem with Leonard was I had him on my fantasy team, and Leonard was hurt, if you remember, he was hurt 8 games or 9 games in the season.
He led the league in tackles a few years too.
Yeah, he's still a ball player.
Yeah,
but you really don't know. I would not trade the number 1 pick. If I was in the Bears situation, the number 1 pick, I need a wide receiver.
No one's getting a number one overall pick. You got to trade out.
And
you got to trade out.
Well, pick. I'm saying, and you get future picks
or more picks in that draft. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying just for picking. I'd be crazy.
I'm about to say if you trade a number 1 pick,
you're gonna have to. And I've looked at that. It's like, they'll get the next 2 first rounders for the Bears, because you look at the Bears roster. They were hoping Chase Claypool was going to be the answer, but that dude was nowhere to be found.
There's a good move that they could make, too. 2 good moves, actually. They could make a move for DJ Moore.
Oh, yeah. Carolina. But you got to see what their cap. I got to see what their cap number is.
And they can make a move. If you want to spend the money on it, you can make a move for the dude in God damn it. They got DeAndre Hopkins, and then you got Elijah Moore, and then you got Elijah Moore, and then Garrett Wilson. The guy on the Jets? No, not Wilson, because he's still on the rookie deal. Corey Davis.
That'd be interesting, but Corey Davis,
he's a very talented receiver.
He was hurt
a lot, yeah.
But what's really going to be interesting is you talk about DeAndre Hopkins.
Where's New
England? I think New England would be a perfect spot for him.
They don't pay receivers.
But if you looked at the Monday night game when they had played each other, they look like they have a very good relationship, which is crazy. Bill Belichick, he goes, "I love you, bro," gives him all the respect, and DeAndre Hopkins gets the same respect to him, which I think they have a connection. But New England, it's going to be tough. If New England trades Mac Jones, who will they get? I think Mac Jones. I think the Raiders, that'd be an interesting question. But Mac Jones, I don't know. That's going to be. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision.
The only trades you can make for Mac Jones that are feasible are 2. Well, 3. Geno Smith. All right, because that's who knows.
No, Mac Jones. I'll go back to this. I just thought about this. Mac Jones and the Raiders coach, Josh McDaniels. You don't know what their relationship was behind the scenes. So, that'd be a big question too. Lamar Jackson, that's another one. I know I'm going a little bit crazy. But
in New England, Belichick has always loved mobile quarterbacks, just could never get one.
Well, New England, Lamar Jackson, that would not be a good fit for Lamar. Lamar, and I know I'm going to sound biased, but if you look at the Atlanta Falcons, I know I'm wearing their jersey.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of heart attacks.
That city would embrace Lamar. They would love him.
So I've had a lot of heart attacks in Atlanta. Obviously, after their Super Bowl, they were never the same. They had lost 10 games when they had 4. And I've watched every last one of them. I'm sitting there well, here we go again, talk a lot of crap, and then all of a sudden, maybe 20 minutes later, we're losing, and it's like, how the hell do you do this? And then they just signed a defensive coordinator last night. It was the Saints guy. He was the D-tackle coach. I can't remember his name. It was 11 o'clock at night when I saw it. That's the position they need, Atlanta. Atlanta needs a lot. We have, last year, we were projected to only win 2 games. And when I had looked at the schedule, I'm like, this is going to be a tough schedule. And you look at it, and they were 7-9 or 7-10, or 6-11, something stupid like that. But the Atlanta Falcons, to win, they won 7 games, so they were 7-10. But you look at that schedule, and you're like, damn, we were 7-10. You look at the division, we were a game and a half. Obviously, the Tampa Bay, basically put in their backups for the second half. But you look at that, and it's like, all right, we were still in that game in the first half, only losing by 3, but we still win. But, we were only technically 2 games, and we had blown 2 leads, or 3 leads in the beginning of the season. So, but, the defense needs a lot of work. A.J. Terrell and Grady Jarrett. I don't know Grady Jarrett just must love Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because that man needs a ring. That man is, if he was 2 inches taller or 3 inches, dude, that dude's Chris Jones on steroids.
What do you think about Desmond Ridder?
He's, I don't know. It's 4 or 5 games. He's not the answer, in my opinion. Desmond Ridder is not the answer, and I think they kind of knew that going into the season because Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota wasn't the answer when he came in. I knew that for a fact. They were just hoping they'd be in the top 10, which they are now. But Desmond Ridder, I looked at a stat a couple days ago, and Matt Ryan's first 4 starts were 2-2, and Desmond Ridder's was 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And Desmond Ridder had, only threw 1 or 2 touchdowns, and then Matt Ryan threw like 6, no interceptions. Desmond Ridder threw maybe 1 or 2. But I think he had more passing yards than Matt Ryan in those 4 games. I think that's what I saw. But Matt Ryan, that dude was a game changer. He saved the Atlanta Falcons organization, period. No matter how bad you hated him, how bad, you disliked him, he saved the Falcons organization. And obviously the coaching too. But Desmond Ridder, going back to him, he's not gonna the franchise guy. There's no way they could make him the franchise guy. I could be wrong, but look at our cap history. And I'll tell you what, the reason I think Desmond Ridder's not the guy is because remember last year when they went after Watson?
Yeah.
And if you look at their offense, like I said, watched all the games this year. A lot of heart attacks. And if you ever looked at our offense,
you're like, where's
the Ravens? Well, I don't know. I understand why they drafted Kyle Pitts because all the hype and everything, but he's good. We are wasting his talent. But going back to Desmond Ridder and Deshaun Watson, Atlanta knew they didn't have the cap salary, and that's why Deshaun Watson didn't pick Atlanta. Deshaun lived in Atlanta, and had all the Atlanta stuff. You said, but he saw the picture of him wearing an Atlanta jacket in Atlanta. But they didn't have the cap salary, but they were gonna. I think they promised him after this year that they'd pay him, the X amount of dollars he needed because of the lawsuits and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he had to pay those lawsuits right then and there.
Yeah.
So that's why he chose Cleveland. But
guaranteed money.
So. Going back to Rick, so if you're going after Deshaun Watson, knowingly you need a quarterback in the draft for Atlanta. They already knew they needed a quarterback. And then everybody knew they were in the market for him.
Yeah.
Because Matt Ryan was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they still knowingly needed a quarterback. So, Atlanta, it's going to be interesting because they got $73 million in cap space. All right. And then they can get even more by getting rid of Mariota. Which I think he quit on the team, in my opinion. But he had the baby. And
I think he'll let him go with Cordell Patterson, too. 32-year-old back. And Huntley and Algier were.
No, but
Algier was good.
But the thing about Cordell Patterson is he's fit for Atlanta. He's with the community, which is a big deal. And he's not charging them. He only signed a 2-year, $6 million.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't know what the bonuses are. But that dude.
I know how NFL teams look at it. You got 2 young backs that can really
but
carry the load.
Cordell Patterson, you looked at the end of the season for Atlanta, and then when you had Tyler Algier, he took way over the rest of Cordell Patterson. So they might get rid of him, but I don't see that happening. I think they're gonna make a really strong run for Lamar Jackson. But I'm on the Falcons Facebook, and a lot of people say they don't want Lamar.
Why not?
And I'm looking at them and we're not. Desmond Ritter is not going to be the answer.
If you get Lamar Jackson, you're instantly a playoff team.
If you're getting Lamar Jackson, you're instantly a playoff team, and then
look at the division.
And I don't. Yeah, well, that's it. Look at the division. That whole division needs a quarterback.
Yeah,
but and then you look at it now. You want to win now, obviously.
Yeah.
But if they get Lamar Jackson, they're easily favorable to win the division. You know what I don't know.
Definitely. I mean, who else?
Because you know
Saints,
you've got Blaine Gabbert, and then you got Andy Dalton, then you got Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. The Saints, I don't know.
The Panthers are trash.
Panthers, you know, they're gonna need some work. So Falcons can easily win that division, winning the 8 games. But if you get Lamar Jackson, you're winning. You might be at least winning the division.
You can win 10 games.
But you can win 10 games. But you know they need defensive work. They got some guys in the draft.
George Poyer from the Bills, he's available. Michael Hyde,
but
he'll be available.
Yeah, but you got some guys last year in the draft where they were young and they were rookies, but they were starting. And then I looked at the stat. They really need an edge rusher.
They'll get no sacks.
Yeah, I looked at a stat in the middle of the year.
And that's bad too, sorry. That's a bad stat. You know why? Because most times they're playing from behind. And you still can't, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's always passing.
But I looked at a stat. The lowest person with sacks team was 66, and then that was 31. And obviously, Atlanta's 32 with 33.
Jesus.
Damn, I think I'd make more sacks.
Nick Bosa and the D-line, the 49ers got that.
So, yeah, both the brothers probably come with right? So, you know, they're going to have to answer, you know, obviously in free agency, but they're going to have to answer what kind of, you know, things they want to sign outside. But if we get Lamar Jackson, everybody's going to try to come to Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, everybody is.
You know, I made the joke. I said, look, go sign Tom Brady for half the city of Atlanta for 2 years.
Tom Brady will be in Atlanta.
So, but, you know, you know how many seats and tickets.
You have to understand, like, do you know what Atlanta is, right?
Yeah.
Atlanta is a black city.
Yeah,
they don't want to fucking Tom Brady up there. They want
to Tom Brady. You know, there's a lot. If you ask any fan, you know, to get Tom Brady.
Look, I think the mystique of Tom Brady is like, it's kind of like when you take a shit in your friend's bathroom and it lingers longer than what you thought. Tom Brady, look here. Everybody's mind is like, okay, look, he's exceeding our expectations, even to a point where we're like, you know what? If he does it, I'm not surprised anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but Tom Brady, he's not retiring after this
year.
I can't see it.
He won't retire, but
I think he'll go to Miami because I saw there's some reports that the kids are getting in Miami, but you don't know if Giselle is in Miami. Mm-hmm. But it'd be crazy. I'd be shocked if Tom Brady retires because he got divorced for 1 year just to play 1 more year. No, I'd be shocked. There's more to it if he retires this year than that divorce.
Those guys with Tom Brady is this. Just like his dad said, they're going to have to pull him off the field in a straitjacket or a stretcher. Tom Brady is literally playing like Brett Favre right now. Brett Favre, in his mind, was like, fuck that, I'm Brett Favre.
But you look at Tom Brady's stats, it's crazy. He's still throwing 5,000 yards.
He did this year, but
you know, but he didn't have a real training camp this year.
So here's the thing, all right? The same excuses that people make for Tom Brady, they don't make for anybody else, right? So let's say Joe Burrow, right? How he took the Bengals to the Super Bowl with no line. You know what I'm saying? No line at all.
No line at all.
Tom Brady had a line. You know, yeah, they lost 1 or 2 guys, whatever. But
Ryan Jensen came back in the playoff game.
But if you're trying to say that the greatest quarterback of all time, who's played behind some shaky lines sometimes, doesn't know how to compensate for that, you can't tell me watching the games with him dirting the ball, all that guy right there is the 2017, 500 yards in playoff game. It just isn't. And I love football and I love greatness. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a big LeBron fan. I know LeBron isn't the same guy that he was at 28. He's still playing great, but he's not, playing defense all the time.
But you think about Tom Brady. I think what really bit him in the butt, they went all after it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They paid that whole Super Bowl for them. But then they couldn't recoup for themselves the following year. But they still went to then they aged up. And then this year, either Tom Brady was going to come save them, or they were just going to be bad.
The league,
but Tom Brady came back and saved them.
The league has caught up. The league has caught up to that formula of.
But yeah, Tom Brady being the Cowboys are too fast. Dan Quinn is a hell of a coach.
Those days of scoring 24 points and that's enough to win a playoff game. Now when you got guys like Mahomes and Burrow that can literally put up 40 points, real quick, or 3 touchdowns in like a quarter. Brady back in the day, right? His whole thing was, my defense will keep you 15, 16, 17 points. If we get into a shootout, I got confidence that I can beat you 24, 27 points. Now, when guys are scoring 35, 40 points, it's like, fuck, I can't do that.
So what comes into it is, when people try to compare, I don't like it where people compare, Tom Brady's playing Patrick Mahomes. Oh my God.
No,
they're playing the defense.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom Brady can't go in there, or Patrick Mahomes, or anybody can't just go in there and play defense. That's their side. They're playing. Mm-hmm. So, you can't never have a comparison. It's good. You keep the viewers up. But Tom Brady, I think he's going to play another year. It's not going to be in Tampa.
No.
I can't see that. I think it's going to be either Las Vegas or Miami.
Somewhere warm, yeah.
Because, it's warm. 2, I think it could be the Raiders because he plays in an indoor stadium. And that crowd is electric. They got Devontae Adams. Mm-hmm. They got Waller. They'll re-sign
Renfro. That's what he really wants. Top receivers.
And then look at it. They'll keep Josh Jacobs. They'd be stupid to let him go.
Of course, he's led league rushing.
So he's got exactly. He's got the rushing. He's got the receivers. Mm-hmm. He's got the tight end.
All he ain't got is defense. That's the one thing.
But you sign Tom Brady, you're gonna have guys follow Tom Brady. For the Buccaneers.
The only thing about that.
It's the older guys.
No, and the only thing about that is, damn, do I really want to face Herbert and Mahomes? You know what I'm saying? But the AFC West, do I want to play against Denver's defense? I know Denver isn't good, but Denver, it's a team like that can knock Brady out. You know what I'm saying? Boom, bang. And with the Chiefs, they get ahead by 3 scores next Peninsula back, Chris Jones. In that division, he doesn't want to go to that division. I think he would stay in the NFC because the road to the Super Bowl in the AFC is too hard. Allen, Mahomes, Lawrence. If he stays in the NFC, he knows, all I got to go through is
the 49ers, that'd be a good one, too.
It would be, but at that point, the 49ers would be like a revolving fucking door. Literally. You're going to let Brock Purdy especially if he wins the fucking Super Bowl, Brady's options are kind of limited unless he wants to go and try to change someone's culture.
See what happens. This will be the most interesting offseason, in my opinion.
In the last 10 years.
And there's a lot of quarterbacks that won out.
Yeah.
There's some quarterbacks that might not get re-signed to their normal team. And then you've got, guys that... There's a lot of guys you can get out of contracts easily and you get traded.
Ferguson's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, I could see. That's going to be interesting where he goes.
Tennessee. They're stupid though.
Malik Willis, he's not what everybody hoped to be.
It was only 1 year.
That's what I'm saying. We'll see. I'll say again, behind the scenes, my crazy thing is they had signed Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs?
No, Josh.
Josh. I like him actually. I really like him.
But what's crazy about it is, and the confidence level's got to be low for Malik Willis. They signed him to the practice squad for him to start that Thursday instead of Malik Willis, which you don't know if there was injury reports, but that is crazy.
Or here's the thing too. All right, so in the last 3, 4, 5 seasons, we've seen quarterbacks take that second-year jump. Okay, I'm not saying that would be Malik Willis, but he reminds me more of Jalen Hurts because it's not like he can't throw the ball.
I think Mike Vrabel is. His time is coming.
Either he's going to be that, or he's going to be a Taysom Hill type.
So I think Mike Vrabel. I think his time is done in Tennessee, but it's not going to be for another year.
Yeah.
But Derrick Henry, when you got Derrick Henry on right behind you, you have a chance at any game.
Yeah.
But the problem comes into, it's getting old.
He's.
Because everybody knows
how many more 1,800. Yeah, because
everybody knows where you're going.
This past year, he still had a good year, whatever, but he was tackled behind the line more than any other back in the league, which you wouldn't think, right? You wouldn't think, right? People just shooting the gap for him because they know first, second down.
Well, the Jaguars, they had a lot of money this year, which I think it was crazy they got rid of James Robinson. It'll be crazy where he ends up.
ETN is really good.
Yeah,
and
but it was crazy.
Behind him, he's pretty good too.
It was crazy they got rid of him.
Teams always want to go younger, especially because he came off of ACL.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Teams always want to go younger, always.
But, Travis Etienne, I could see him being the next McCaffrey.
He reminds me more of like
Aaron Jones. If he gets in the weight room, and gets faster.
Well, remember this year he's coming off the ACL.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he gets stronger, faster, that dude's going.
The Jags probably next year might lead the league in scoring because when it comes to leading the league in scoring, it's kind of like in the NBA when teams win 65, 70 games. It's always a young team that's all like approaching like their primes. So I think that the Jaguars.
So we'll see what happens with the Jaguars because a lot of people forget they got Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, and it's a bad division.
Oh my god!
Their division's
I don't know why Atlanta got rid of him. I understand why they got rid of him, but damn, they got Calvin.
They bet on $1,000.
You bet on Atlanta.
Yeah,
out of all teams.
Yeah,
but Calvin Ridley with Christian Kirk and then
Zay Jones is the best.
I hope they sign Evan Ingram back. He only signed to a 1 year deal.
They're not signing back. He was the number one target.
I hope they sign him back and then ETN, which getting Calvin Ridley. Now, this is saying if he's be the same Calvin Ridley as last year, because he's 26, 27, something like that. So, to get him back to his shape without playing a year, we'll see what happens. I'm sure he's in the best shape of his life, but we'll see what happens because being away from NFL for a year,
they're going to be potent.
So that whole training camp and preseason and the scrimmages they play will be huge for Calvin Ridley but you only sacrificed a 3rd round pick, which could be a second or there were some things they get extra pick, but that won't be for at least another year. But you sacrificed that for a dude like Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I got it.
Which he can catch the ball, great footwork. But which is great for Jacksonville. That will be so crucial this year.
And look at Jacksonville. Look at their team, right? Special teams, they have a great return man. Offensively, there's really not a weakness in the whole beside the interior line. You have a mobile quarterback, so he can kind of like make up for all that. And you get guys in the draft. And on defense, they have a great linebacking core with Josh Allen and those other guys. But their weakness is the secondary. Remember, they had to match teams for scoring. Dallas was going up and down the field on them, whatever. Dallas just made that one mistake. You know what I'm saying?
Dak Prescott, you talk about Dallas. Dak Prescott.
How do you lead the league in interceptions and you missed 5 games?
He was not the answer for Dallas. I think Dallas got peer pressured by everybody's saying, "Oh, go sign my man. Oh, do this, that, this."
We know what he is. He's the Black Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, he's not.
He's the Black Kirk Cousins.
He said, "Oh, we got a playoff win this year in Tampa." Like I said, Tampa.
Think about this: the Cowboys, this team that did all this, made it as far as the Giants did. A team that was projected to not go anywhere. So at the end of the year, when they sit back and they think, "Man, we're the Dallas Cowboys. We won a game and all this blah blah," you beat a 45-year-old quarterback and a defense that literally was hobbling on the field. So they had just come back after like 8 weeks,
and the center just came back from that.
Yeah,
they got hurt.
And that's what I hate about Dallas. When they played Philly last year, when Philly had in their backups and Dallas scored 56 points on them, all that shit. I'm sitting back and I'm thinking to myself, man, you guys are the kind of guys that if they said, hey Dallas, will you guys play Alabama on Monday Night Football? They're like, hell yeah, we go out there and play them. And
Alabama would beat them.
And injure 4 players and it's just professional wise, it's just everybody thinks that. But professional and amateur is like that. Mark Sanchez said this best on Hard Knocks in 2008. He was like, man, like I remember being back at USC and being able to at least run around a guy. He was like, when I got in the league, he was like, I was sprinting, running for my life almost, and guys were jogging beside me. D linemen were jogging beside me, And he was like, bro, the speed of the game, you would think these guys are older. No, These are the alphas of the alphas of the alphas. They're the guys that were the captains in college. These are the super genetic freaks. So a 34-year-old Von Miller is running faster than that 5-star guy that came out of high school because he's just a fucking freak.
So, college, it's now, over the past 7 years, it was all Alabama.
Georgia.
Now, it's all Georgia.
All Georgia.
So, we'll see where that goes.
It won't be that way in 5 years, I guarantee it.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. LSU.
The schools with the most money are going to end.
We'll see what LSU does. SEC, if you think about college, there's a lot of teams transferring to other divisions and conferences.
And that's
what's going to be more interesting.
And that's why I'm trying to say
Texans, and you got Archie Manning now going to Texas.
I believe, wait for this, next 5 years, USC, Oregon, Texas A&M, Clemson, only because the money behind the programs. Now with NIL deals.
Well, now you've got, I think it's a year or two, it'll be the top 16 seeds or 8 seeds, which is great.
Yes, finally.
I'm
tired of seeing Georgia fucking beat up on goddamn
Michigan.
Yes.
Michigan is my team. They will never be able to beat Georgia or Alabama.
They can't beat the SEC.
You couldn't even beat TCU.
No, fuck no.
So I think that's why, Harbaugh changed the program a lot, which is good for Michigan. But
he won the Big Ten, but that's it.
Exactly.
That's it. It's like
SEC the same thing about their defense. It's not good.
SEC schools is literally like watching Phoebus play against Gloucester. It is. No, I'm being dead ass. It's like they do things like they reverse the field. They break away. They're wide open by 30, 40 yards. They have professional play callers, guys who played the NFL. They have professional receivers. They have professional linemen.
So that's why you see Stetson Bennett. He won't be good in the NFL.
No. You're 25 in college.
So,
that's why you're
I'm not even saying about his age. I'm just saying that's why you never see these quarterbacks now are doing good. Think about the Alabama quarterbacks.
A.J. McCarron, Mac
Jones. Besides Mac Jones,
I mean, they're not good.
Where else will they be? Where else are they?
Literally, all you gotta do. If all I gotta do is throw a shallow cross and the guy, just burn everybody. That's it.
Yeah, so
Devontae Smith was so open. He won the fucking Heisman as a receiver. It wasn't a quarterback. That was Devontae Smith smoking receivers.
So we'll see. We'll definitely see where Stetson Bennett goes. But
4th round.
I think 6th.
5'11", 190 pounds. He's already 25. By the time he's drafted, he'll probably be 26. You know what I'm saying? So teams are projecting in their mind, we can give you 1, 2 deals if you're even worth it.
So we'll see what happens with that.
I do believe though that there will be another undersized quarterback like a Drew Brees that comes along.
C.J. Stroud won't be the answer.
I'm not saying that Bryce Young or Bennett, but there will be another 5'10", 5'11" quarterback that will be great.
They're giving a lot of hype to Bryce Young, and Bryce Young, in my opinion,
I watched. Okay, so you know how some people always hype guys up, and you're like, man, fuck you, I'm out. I've watched a couple of Alabama games with Bryce Young, right? And when I say this, he is the most. I don't know what it is about him, right? You watch the games and he'll be dodging guys in the back, but it's just the way he throws. He throws guys so accurately open that it's all right, that shouldn't be. He's making NFL throws in college. But it can't translate because...
Well, we'll see what happens. I don't think he's going to be the answer. I think he's too small.
He's way too small.
And he weighs a buck, 80,
he's
60, something like that. He's too small. But we'll definitely see what happens because, a lot of people said that about Jalen Hurts.
Look at Tua.
And Tua...
Well, Jalen Hurts is a big guy.
How is he?
He's 6'2", 230. He's a big guy. You don't see him? He's big as fuck. He's just not undersized. He's a big dude.
That's why I don't pay it. Yeah. If you ain't playing for the Falcons, I don't know what you're doing.
Guys
Kyle Murray.
He was an outlier because he was so fast.
I can't believe Cardinals paid for that contract. I can't believe that.
They're desperate.
Because that too.
If you get a Pro Bowl quarterback, you gotta do it.
But at the same time is when you look at Jalen Hurts and Bryce Young, He was in that offense. I think that's why Jalen Hurts left. But Bryce Young has been in that offense all the time. And he's always got great talent. He's got 5-star linemen, 5-star receivers, 5-star running back. Even your backup quarterbacks.
Jalen Hurts left because he wanted to start.
But, I'm just saying, when you get into the NFL, and this is why I think it was good for Jalen Hurts to leave, even though because he has less talent at Oklahoma. He still has great talent at Oklahoma, but he had less talent than what he had. But, Bryce Young, he had talent all the way around. So that's why I don't think Alabama quarterbacks make it. Because now, look at Mac Jones.
Look at Tua.
Going down. Tua was like, this is the third straight year where the Dolphins have been great in the first 6-7 games. We're in the playoffs. To now, when you get to the last game, they're not even in it.
Heck yeah, man. Well, shit. Time to wrap it up with this, man. It's been like, we've been chatting about football like crazy. This weekend, tomorrow. Wait, not tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be the games.
I think 49ers. Well, I think that the toughest part about it is with the 49ers and Eagles. I think the 49ers will end up winning it because the defense is always better than the offense.
It can go two ways. It can go 49ers completely blowing them out because...
Brock Purdy's going to have to play a hell of a game too.
Or it comes down to Philly sacks Purdy early, gets them out of there. If Purdy throws an early pick, it's over. But if he does throw an early pick and rallies, Purdy... look here. The way that I feel personally, I feel that Purdy has that thing.
So we'll see what Purdy does. I don't think Purdy... I think 49ers win it only because they have so much talent on offense. Even if he makes a mistake, that it's going to be... The defense will have his back.
Mm-hmm.
And Purdy will just go in there and throw another touchdown. I think a field goal for Gold will end up doing it for it. And I think Patrick Mahomes, I think they'll win by 2 touchdowns tomorrow.
I think they win handily.
Because we haven't heard anything about the Chiefs, but we've heard a lot about the Bengals. Bengals are talking. And usually when a team talks, and that's not Burrow's style either, which is crazy that the team had said something about Burrowhead because, I've seen some reports to where Burrow's like, I just go home and do this and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And look at his draft. All he had was his mom and dad, that's all you really need, and your family. But he just had his mom and dad, and that was it. And he was sitting there like, I guess I'm going to the Bengals. See ya. I already know I'm going to the Bengals.
Hell yeah.
So I think it'll be, if it's the 49ers, if it's the Chiefs and the Eagles, the brothers, Kelsey, I don't think they're going to do their podcast.
The highest scoring Super Bowl.
They'll be the first brothers being in the Super Bowl. So, but I think it'll be the Chiefs and the 49ers again.
Yep.
Which is crazy. And we'll see if Garoppolo is able to come back. They were talking about Garoppolo coming back. But back as a backup, but we'll see if that has some anticipation going into those 2 weeks.
That would be crazy.
So we'll see. But tomorrow should be interesting. So we'll see what happens.
It's going to be a good one, man. It's definitely going to be a good one. Hey, man, it's been great.
Yeah, I hope to do this again.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm trying to get this done about every week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, anytime. I'm free on Saturdays. So.
I have not done a podcast in probably like a month and a half, 2 months now. So I'm trying my best to get people, because it's hard for people to...
Well, hey, I'm off every Saturday, so you want to make this a regular thing?
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, man.
I can make the drive.
Heck yeah, man. This is my guy Kyle right here, guys. We've been sitting here chatting up about football for the last almost 2 hours now, man. But if you guys want to tap into the page, hit subscribe, hit the like button. Keep talking on YouTube. Keep talking on Twitter. Keep talking on TikTok. I have everything. You know what I'm saying, guys? So we've been talking all day. We'll talk some more next week, guys. Keep motivated, keep steady, and keep talking. Peace.